Hi, I'm Frank with OxygenGuy.com, and if you've seen my previous video talking about my near-death experience, I talk about going off to a place and then coming back. And as such, I received tons of comments and such. And actually, you can leave a comment down below if you'd like. But basically, with that being the case, I received one from Sarah M. And this is actually the story of when Sarah M. met Jesus. I thought that would be an interesting... I read the story and I thought it was interesting, so I thought I would pass it on. So here it is, when Sarah M. met Jesus. This time, it started in 2014 when I saw the number 1111 everywhere for weeks and days. And there was a dove that sat in my window for all those weeks. At St. John's Day, I felt an urgent feeling that I should pray, so I did. Then my soul suddenly popped out, begging to come home. A voice behind me said, "Make happy, and you will become it too." Immediately I became very joyful. Then one night, an angel with red hair woke me up, telling me that I had to meet the Lord. I flew out of my body from the balcony and saw a huge crystal stairway. I was so amazed that I took 5 steps and then had to sit down on it for a while and look around. I thought about my family, but I was so happy and relaxed, and I knew that they would be okay. There was nothing else but stars and the shining crystal stairs that made rainbow colors because of the light. Soon after, I heard a voice saying, "Sarah, come." So I stood up and continued to the top, but I didn't walk up on all the steps, only a few, and suddenly I reached the top. There I saw 2 doors. I chose the one that was open, and I could hear music from the other door that was closed. Now I was in space when he came flying on my right side. We then went to Orion's Nebula, where he opened up a tunnel in the left side with the 4 stars in the middle of the nebula cloud. He used some kind of spell word. Meanwhile, I walked around and checked out the cloud. I wasn't worried at all, just happy and fascinated to be there. He spread his arms out a bit, and when he commanded the tunnel open, and suddenly I recognized and remembered I knew him from earlier in life, but I had forgotten about it. I was so curious and happy to be there and just to see him. He looked exactly like this when he commanded the tunnel open. As we walked through the tunnel, I looked at the walls. It was a kind of flickering electric, but still I had a view to the cosmos that was around us. He said that I shouldn't look too much because it would drain the faith out of me. But I thought, what harm me when you are in front of me? I walked slowly behind and noticed that my feet didn't touch the ground, but I still walked. We went out again. We flew in space. As we approached our destination, I saw multiple glittering colors and music. He told me that is inspiration to the people on Earth. And then he said that I would soon fall apart as we get closer, but that he would fix me again when we get there. Then I woke up on his lap as a baby in the New Jerusalem. A star, all stars are homes for our souls. He smiled and nursed me, and I was immensely happy to be in my real father's arms. I was growing up very fast. My whole past, away from my family, was waiting on a little bridge in front of me and a creek running under it. We hugged each other. Some of them I did not know, but I knew that they were relatives. All of them was young. Again, I asked my aunt, who had died the exact same year, "Do you know who this is?" She answered, "Yes, he is always here." I had some time alone with them, and we went up in what looked like an old mill or water tower to talk a little. When outside again, they showed me the plate with the names of this town's members. All my family members' names written in gold. So I think all families have a star of their own after life to live on. After a while, Jesus came to get me, and he and I went outside in what looked like a courtyard with pillars. We sat down on a little fountain, and he gave me gifts, toys I had had when I was a kid. I became so full of joy to see them again, and to see the marks I had made on them while using them growing up. They were still there, and because of that, it confirmed to me that it was the same toys I had once owned. He laughed out loud when I was silly. The town looked like a mix of ancient Greek and, yes, well, heaven. I didn't see streets of gold, but it looked beautiful, everything my heart longs for. At one point, I got the idea to pinch my arm, and I felt it. I still had my body, even though I knew I was out of my body. I looked up in the air. There was no sun, but everything shined like a beautiful summer day. He called for a small cloud that came right above me. It was some kind of cloud screen on where he'd showed me my whole life and some of my future. The cloud somehow surrounded me, and I was reliving scenes from my life. Sometimes from another perspective. For example, I saw myself playing with my brother and sister when we were younger. When the scene was over, the cloud left me and I was still sitting with Jesus. At one point, I was shown that he was the one that installed my soul in my body. The day I was born, I was actually in the hospital watching him kiss my forehead 1 second before I came into the world. When I was with the Lord, my soul didn't care much for my body. I was still me, but my soul, it felt much more important to me to please and obey him. Jesus also showed me the several times he saved me in one life. One time he saved me from a car accident. He also showed me many times I prayed as a kid. It felt like I was reliving the scenes again. He then gave me some paper-thin, flesh-like papyrus that he wrote his name on with his own blood. I had to eat it. Before I did so, I asked him if I could see his hands to confirm. He smiled and showed them to me. I could clearly see that he had huge nail mark scars in them. He then began to teach me with the words from the Testament, but in some sort of code. Words I had to heal with, he said, and names and words was flashing fast on the screen. All the disciples' names and some letters. I said, it's so simple that a child could understand it. It was so easy there. He then showed me a stone pillar that someone named Simeon Stylites used to sit on, something about the Ankh. In the end, he showed me myself about 80 years old in a nursing home, and that he will come and get me that day when I die. He then gave me eternal life. While he did that, he drew something on the ground and said that I should try to endure the daily temptations and stop saying harsh words in anger. Then he hugged me, and with a bright, warm light surrounding us, we had to go back to my body. On the way back, we were very close to Saturn's rings, and we walked on the clouds. I've been there 2 times now, and everything he said came true. In the first experience, I was sitting with Jesus looking out on the sunset and a beautiful wheat field. He then told me it was going to be a hard life, but the outcome would be good for many, and that I will be allowed to see more of heaven when 25 years has passed, and that promise has been kept. Behind me was a large tree with fruits I have never seen before, and a ladder that angels and I used to transport to another place. Later, he took me to a throne room where I saw 2 chairs. In one of them, in front of me on my right hand, I saw an old man looking exactly like God. You know, from Michelangelo's painting of the creation of the sun and the moon. On the wall behind me, I saw a big old wooden wheel with sapphires between the spokes. I heard a loud voice saying, "Bend for your master." So I did, and now Jesus is sitting in the other chair. But I still felt like he was both of them. He told me that I had to save a girl from doing drugs. I met her later in real life and managed to convince her. She is now working for the government. When being spoken to, it wasn't done with sounds and words. It was going on telepathically, but I could still think and feel. I also have been filled with the Holy Spirit twice. The last time it lasted for 5 days. I was full of pure joy and love. In fact, I've never felt more joyful and happy in my entire life. I was glowing for days, even my friends could see it. One evening, I saw tall blue, grayish men in the sky flying up and down every time I heard an ambulance in my town. I also knew energies in purple, turquoise covers coming towards us from the sky all the time, maybe neutrinos. Jesus' hair was very big and beautiful, like the mane on a lion, and his beard was just as beautiful, and on his neck he had some sort of ancient hammer cut style. His robe was light blue, and he wore old sandals. The following days I saw his face in everything, in shapes, in trees, and shadows, and in almost everything living on earth. When I came back into my body, I checked out the name Simeon Stylites, and I realized that he really did exist. I had no knowledge of this term pillar saints before, and now I don't know why I saw it. I still don't know why I saw it. A few days later, I saw the old man sitting next to Jesus in the throne room. Came flying towards me in a vision when I blinked my eyes for a moment. And something big, as a person hit my glass door. It got extremely cold. Then I got a nosebleed and vertigo and a shadow of a skull on my ceiling for 5 days. Throughout my experiences, I didn't feel any judgment, only understanding and directions to be a better person. When he showed me something I did in the past that wasn't so great, he erased it out and said, "But it's okay now." And the whole place sang of joy. Something like a big animal flew at me some of the way back home. It had fur with spots all over it. Looking in the eyes, it told me it loved me, and I said that back. I saw everything clearly, not foggy. Before this, I had an attack of sleep paralysis. I couldn't move. Some beast was on top of me. But in the same second, I was thinking, when will God come to save me? A bright light came into the room, and it fled. Then, dark night of my soul started. Of course, the person who sent this is, obviously English is a second language. I did my best to interpret it, but I did find it quite interesting. I thought I would pass it on. So, with that being the case, something different. Maybe put your thoughts down below. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. And if you'd like, check out some other videos on the channel. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.